So here we go. I'm not even sure what I want to speak about, but I think that my message that's been resonating inside of me all week and for a long time before is radical self-acceptance, loving ourselves no matter what. And studies indicate that when we're hard on ourselves, that it not only slows our progress to our ideal chosen goal, but it actually can stop it from happening. And I learned that when I was 100 pounds overweight. I was in the throes of a food addiction. I couldn't stop thinking about food. I couldn't stop obsessing about my weight. And it was it was a really dark time for a long time with regard to that, and it didn't turn around for me until I had been praying for a long time, and prayer is powerful. There's no question about it to me. And I prayed and asked the higher power. Um, I said, there's no way that I can make a contribution with the gifts that you've given me if I don't get free from this. And one day it occurred to me that when I binged, it was usually about a half hour, maybe the most an hour of my day. And the rest of the time I was just being miserable about it. And I could laugh now, but it was no laughing matter then, that's for sure. And so, it occurred to me that I had 23 and a half hours that I was working on myself not to pick up. I was going to meetings, I was meditating, I was praying, I was making reach out calls, visualization. I had a vision board, I would look at it, and I was working all those other hours, and it occurred to me that I could focus on that. I could focus on the hours that I was working to abstain from compulsive overeating and to get well, the hours I drove to meetings and etc. And I really made it like it was a full-time job for me to get well. And I deserve to pat myself on the back for it. So, that was the turnaround for me. And I'm just like reminding myself, that when this voice comes in, like it did this morning, and I swept the floor, I did the dishes, I weighed and measured my food because that's what I like to do. It gives me comfort and peace to know, what I'm eating, how much, and etc. And yeah, and then the voice comes in and it says, you didn't do enough, you didn't, change your linens, you're never going to move to, your chosen goal. And, and I started doing a portrait as well. And I did all the preliminary work be able to begin that, getting a frame, getting the picture for me to copy, because the little girl is now 13 years old, and she wanted a picture of herself when she was a baby. And yeah, so the voice I'm grateful I can hear it, because if I can hear it, I have a chance of getting in there and turning it around. And yeah, and I just want to share this last thing that, because I thought it was so powerful. And it was a story about a man who had been suffering with back pain for decades. And everything he tried, nothing was helping. And then one day somebody suggested that he go help the neighbor who was struggling to carry her bundles. He didn't know if he could do it physically, but he did. And he saw that when he did that, that his pain diminished exponentially. And it wasn't necessarily that his pain went away, but the focus on himself, he took the focus off himself and put it on somebody else, and that gave him a freedom that he couldn't access before. So, after listening to those voices and this morning I got on a meeting and I shared and I tried to share for the highest good of all concerned, and it really did help. So thank you so much for listening. I hope this is helpful to you, because that's really what it's all about. But I'm sure that these are good reminders for me to look back and listen to. So no matter how many times I hear things, I go back and it's like, oh, thank you for reminding me. I needed to hear that. Okay, God bless.